In this video, we're going to look at some of the amazing scenery on day 2 of our Rocky Mountaineer trip to Banff. We're going to start our journey taking a tour of the lobby at the Marriott Bonvoy in Kamloops. This is where we stayed. We did have an accessible room, and as you can see, a wheelchair eye view here of what it looks like. The property really was very accessible. We had nowhere we couldn't get that we wanted. Our room was accessible. That'll be a separate video. You'll see the link right up above. We're going to go back through, wander around between the tables and chairs, just so you get a feel for what the space is like. But it's well spaced out. The breakfast area was closed as we were getting ready to leave, but they did have a coffee shop open, so everybody was getting coffee. It wouldn't be long before we'd be on the train and getting our opportunity for breakfast there. This process with the Rocky Mountaineer was really easy. You just brought your luggage down and put it out in the parking area there, and then you're on the bus. Now, Cheryl could move a few steps, and so we said it would be fine if we took the bus. They would put the wheelchair with the luggage and ship it on ahead. But we would get on and off the bus, and then I'd help her over to the train. Now, the train is super accessible. If you need to stay in a wheelchair, you're a full-time wheelchair user, then what will happen is they have a single level car that you ride in, and they have a lift to get you there. Cheryl would use the lift so she didn't have to climb the steps, which were kind of steep, to get into the train car. And we started out of Kamloops along this river, and all of this was so beautiful. I'm standing out on the platform now looking at what's going by, and I'm going to go over and look on the other side. One side was river, the other side is forest and trees. Here we're passing the Eagle River. We traveled along this river for quite a while as we were headed into Banff. And in just a minute, you're going to get a chance to see the monument in Craigalucci where they drove the last spike on the Canadian Pacific Railway. It'll come up here again in just a second. But the entire trip was just incredibly beautiful. We really enjoyed it. I spent so much time, right there was the monument for the last spike. And I spent so much time out on the platform just listening to the sound of the train. I'm a train fan from way back. Now we're starting to climb up the mountain and headed up. We would actually go through a tunnel, or through actually 3 partial spiral tunnels on our way to Banff, and then descend back down. As we continue slowly along here, as we're climbing up the side of the mountain, which definitely slows the train down. And in just a minute, we'll be going down to the other side. And it's interesting, you'll see in just a second, that we're not very far below the snow line. There you can see the snow. And we start along this river, which has an Indian name that basically means swift water or fast water. We'd travel alongside this river for quite a while, sometimes getting pretty close to it. In fact, after we get past this train, you'll start to see the river fairly close to us. Because it gets so much snow in the wintertime in this area, there's a lot of tunnels and avalanche shelters where they've built a protection over the top of the tracks. You can see us coming out of one of those there. And we're traveling along the river. But they use the tunnels and these avalanche protectors to keep the snow from coming down and wiping out the tracks and any trains that might be on it. As we're traveling along, you can see this river's fairly high and pretty muddy. One of the things I like about train travel is the fact is that you get to see so much of this. And we'll start to move back away from the river for a little bit. And this whole journey was filled with things to look at. In this case, I'm looking at the trees and the river, but on the other side there were other things to look at as well. You just had to pick and choose. Cheryl would take a lot of photos, and I was shooting with 1 or 2 cameras. And see, again, we got back up really close to the snow line, and you can see, in fact, we're starting to head in, getting closer to Banff. This is the Bow River, and you can see that as we're going along, again, we're not very far from the snow line. You can see the highway there. That's the Banff Highway. We would be just below the snow line. And in fact, they said Lake Louise had just opened up when we were there. We would spend a couple of days in Banff to look at the snow-covered mountains and the clouds. We had a little bit of a cloudy, drizzly day as we moved into Banff. It would get better the next morning. We had one full day, and it started a little rainy, and then it would clear up, and we had a really nice afternoon. We're traveling along the Bow River. It's a famous trout stream. Actually, let's not call it a stream, let's call it a river, because it is a full-fledged river. It's time to get off the train now. We're in Banff, and we'll see Cheryl use the hand-cranked lift that would get a wheelchair up and down from the train. Now, in our case, Cheryl will just walk off and hold on to it. She's got her cane with her. They had checked our wheelchair for comfort reasons, and we decided that it would be easier for her to sit for the full-day train rides in the passenger car. They have an elevator that takes you up and down, so you can get from the second level and down to the dining area, which is on the first level of the train car. And that's electric, not hand cranked, but to get on and off, my wife and this lady both used the elevator to get off. And they lifted up out of the way and put down the red carpet, and I get to get off. I will say this, the steps are fairly steep, not bad for somebody that's got full mobility, but it wouldn't be much fun walking down it. Take a look at the steps. But the lift worked really well. They had a golf cart that would take Cheryl and the person riding with her to the terminal where we would get our transportation to the hotel. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor, go ahead and click subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you can click my face there and that'll subscribe you. And the playlist on the right will have more from this train journey. Hope you enjoyed it. We loved the trip. It was amazing. I highly recommend it. We'll see everybody in the next video.